Want to make Mom's day? Get to your Nordstrom Rack now and score amazing deals for Mother's Day, which is Sunday, May 12th. Find tons of gifts from only $30 at Nordstrom Rack. Fragrance, jewelry, luxury bags, activewear, beauty, and more. Save on Kate Spade New York, Stuart Weitzman, and Ted Baker London. Great brands, great prices. So shop your Nordstrom Rack store today and treat Mom to the good stuff from just $30.
You are tuned into The Library with Tim Einico, rapstation.com.
Rapper, activist, and sociologist AWKWORD is, quote, one of the most impactful and globally active hip-hop personalities in the game today, according to Hype magazine, and according to Rap Genius, favorite up-and-comers. He joins me to discuss his newest album, Worldview, the first ever 100% for charity global hip-hop album sponsored by the DJ Booth and the Morgan Stanley Foundation. AWKWORD, thanks for joining me on The Library with Tim Einico on rapstation.com.
Thank you, Tim. I'm glad to be here, and, it's an honor to be a part of this show, led by the legendary Chuck T.
And we definitely appreciate it, man. So, first off, I was listening to the album, and one of the songs, Gasland, Frack Off, which is the first song on Worldview, featuring Sean Dunn. So I was wondering, what that as the first song, I mean, was that the plan? I guess, was that purposeful that you wanted this song to be the first track on the album? And then kind of what did you want to gain from that being the first song on the album?
Good question. Again, I think you'll find the answer is not what you would expect. If you take a look at, you look at the fact that I've been working on Worldview for 5 years, and you take a look at, how many songs are on Worldview that's coming out Sunday, February 2nd, through DJ Booth. That's 19. And then you see that there's, in my on my website and elsewhere where people have written this whole thing up, you'll see that there's going to be at least another 20 songs on the bonus disc that DJ Booth is dropping for free a month after in March. So that shows you that there was a huge chopping block for the main, the 100% for charity Worldview album. And if you take and you actually go through the songs that you'll see on the bonus disc, a lot of them were already released as Worldview singles. So this, for me, has been a completely untraditional, iterative process. I've had no management, no public relations team. I've done this all by myself. I kind of, once I was ready, once all of the songs I knew had to be on there were done, I then went through them all and cut it down to the final 19. I wanted it to be 18 or 20, but timing-wise and just, we also considered that I wanted to be available on Amazon in hard copy, and so it had to be under 78 minutes.
Okay.
There were a lot of thoughts that went into this, but I actually consulted with Vinyl Digger from Switzerland, who did the full album mix, in helping me to track it out, to figure out which tracks belonged where. So having said all of that, I think Gasland is a perfect song to start off the album because it's a pressing issue for 2014. It's something that I'm really proud of because my mom was an environmental activist, and although she passed and didn't get a chance to hear me do a song that she would really have close to her heart, other than the one I made about her, and she really wanted to see me finish Worldview. It's kind of in her honor that I finally released this. And it's a really powerful, angry, in a bright way kind of song. This is meant to empower people to get on the streets and to lobby Congress and things like that. So it's a good kind of, symbol for what the whole album does as a whole, and kind of a hint at what some of the music is going to be sounding like. I think it leads into the rest of the album really well.
Think that measly paycheck's gonna be what betters you? If that job is something that you said you'd never do, exchanging tax breaks and lap dances, drill for revenue. fracking by definition causes fractures. And sure, yeah, that's nothing. It's what we know that happens after. Acid rain, radiation, ecological disaster. Now my water's got formaldehyde and hydrochloric acid, and they only capture 30 to 50% of fracturing fluid, leaving the rest of the toxins underground, sitting there, polluting, causing respiratory and neurological damage to us humans. So self-abusive. Vote, riot, make change, solution. We gon' frack for freedom. We gon' frack for freedom. And this award goes to the best frack of the evening.
I want to get more. A little later. I want to get more into some of the tracks on the album. But as mentioned on your site, awkwordrap.com. That's AWKWORDRAP.com. Worldview is available for 100% for charity purchase. So I was curious, why did you decide to? Why did you decide to create an album that's just for charity? And also the charity. The charity. Why did you want all the proceeds to go for the charity Guns for Cameras?
Right. I actually, again, it all kind of happened organically. Worldview, the concept originally was just going to be a mixtape I put out with remixes of songs that I had done for a solo album that is no longer even available. And because that was like years ago, and for some reason, like, there's really no community like this anymore. But MySpace was huge for artists and like networking, way more effective, I think, than Twitter even, and for that purpose. So there were like countless producers and DJs contacting me through there, asking me for acapellas to remix, and they were coming from all over the world. So I ended up holding a remix contest. I got like 100 back, cut it down, and a lot of those remixes now appear on one or the other of the two albums. From there, I thought about, wow, how amazing is this? Initially I thought I'd get a great diversity of sound because things were coming from Malaysia, Malawi, Africa, Mexico, Moldova, in the middle of Europe. Like, you would think that they'd each represent their unique cultures, but what they all turned out to represent was the larger universal culture of hip-hop, which manifests itself on the album. It's a universal, it's a universal sound. So that really enamored me to the whole concept of a global culture. And so then it became my mission to make this album literally global, and I achieved that with 19 countries and every continent represented on the album. Yeah. And I wanted to do something like that inherently is so positive for our larger community, for our hip-hop community, and make it valuable to the larger community as well. And therefore, that's when I decided to make it for charity. And from that point, which charity? I wasn't going to go to one that was really well known just to get like more coverage. I wasn't going to, choose the most hot topic at the time. For me, I wanted it to have a personal connection, because in the end, this is my project that I've been, slaving over for as long as I have. Guns for Cameras was founded by a friend of mine, Jesus R., who was shot 22 times at age 22 and survived. Wow. And on his hospital bed, he experienced this moment with God and decided to rededicate his life to something positive. And he had a film background, so what he elected to do was create an organization that went beyond the gun exchange, working to educate and empower kids through film, basically through hip-hop and the arts. So he's teaching kids, instead of aiming to kill, aiming to live. And Jesus and the organization's spokesperson, Pharaoh Monch, have toured the country, going to colleges and signing them up, going to teen centers and schools. But we really want to take it to the next level. With this album and all the proceeds going to this organization, we're hoping we can really start to have a more hands-on, on-the-ground, day-to-day interaction with and impact on the actual kids in our communities.
As you mentioned, the album features tons of MCs, and I mean a lot of MCs and a lot of producers MCs like Joel
Yeah.
Ortiz, Pace
There's like
One.
75 rappers on the 2 albums.
Yeah, that's there's like Pace One, KRS One, Slug, Fast Air, C Reyes, Sabam Sadiq, and so much more. So when you have a huge, obviously a huge collaboration like this, like what is the pitch? Like how do you get them on board? And then what's the workflow like? I mean, is it everyone in studio together, or is it just that's probably just impossible? So there's a lot of emailing, phone calls.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the situation. You know, with producers all over the country and world, there's always a ton of emailing. And even like 5 years ago, in certain countries, there'd be periods where they didn't have internet, and I couldn't even have contact with them. I haven't experienced that in a while, but yeah, it's a ton of email back and forth. It's like me getting beats, choosing beats, either sending it to the producer to mix, or like my main mix guy Trillian, who's Serbian or from Serbia himself, and then incorporating MCs on songs where there are collaborations, and with a lot of those, I was in the studio. Like I always recorded with the 2 songs produced by Harry Fraud. I was in the studio. I recorded with Steel Tip Dub in the studio, as well as ATG. And so there were MCs that I recorded with as well. Like the Bars and Hooks song, everyone was in the studio. But then, other songs, as you said, it was just not possible. So again, it's with the MCs, a lot of emailing back and forth, talking about both the concept for the song, why I wanted them on it, and, I would say more importantly than anything else, pitching them, as you said, like the concept of the album. Like this is really, it's not a pitch, it's just the case that, this is a history-making album. No one has ever done this before, and it's all going to charity. And so these artists, there were guys who turned me down, but you'll see the huge list, and all of these guys wanted to be a part of this.
That's awesome. I want to go into kind of one of the songs on the album, which, as I said, I do like the album a lot. It's called, as for listeners who don't know, it's called Worldview. We're speaking with AWKWORD. He's a rapper, activist, and sociologist. Just created this 100% for charity global hip-hop album. One song on the album that I liked was Dr. Doctor featuring Guess Who.
Doctor, I think I need some drugs. All this therapy and still can't go to the club. All these plastic waifs spilling their cosmos and their plastic dates. Get pissed like vamos. You look like Drake. Muchacho cuidado. I was just trying to peep if they had all gone Serato.
So if you could just explain, what's the commentary behind this song?
This was, I'm actually, Guess Who is someone who really does not rap a lot. He's someone I grew up with, who, I felt at the time like we had a lot of similarities, and even though we're really not in touch anymore, I think we probably still do. So this was before I invited him to be a part of it, for me the concept was, I have a lot of issues, for me, being so effective in the art, and then the promoting of the art is comes second nature to me, and it's also the way that I survive. I find it, living day to day is what's hard for me. And so, having, being on all these meds just to be functional and sane, and knowing all of these feelings and experience, and having all of these experiences when things weren't going as well, I wanted to express that on a song. And as people said at the time, it was pretty ballsy to do that. I let it all out. But I did want to do it in a different type of way. I didn't want it to be whiny. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I want people to relate. And also, similar to the concept of Rainy Days, which is on the bonus disc, it's time to actually own your own, psychoses or whatever. To be a tragic personality is one who sees all of these ridiculous things happening, sees their faults, and owns it, and finds humor in it, and can actually laugh at it. And so Dr. Doctor is more like a sarcastic approach to talking about our messed up lives. And, you know, Guess Who fit perfectly because, you know, my mom died and then his dad died like right around the same time. And he had a really rough upbringing, and he's absolutely crazy. So it made a lot of sense, and the song is a lot of fun. I mean, as I think the listener can tell from the hook and the way we're rapping, and of course at the end of the song as well, which we found this awesome sample for a voicemail for all types of crazy people.
Doctor, I think I need some more help. I refuse to choose when Jesse didn't kill myself.
Life is like choose what you get, but got problems, choose how you step to doctor, set me on the couch, cause I got problems, stress to this life of mine. Life is like choose what you get, but got problems, choose how you step to doctor, set me on the couch, cause I got problems, stress to this life of mine. Life is like choose what you get, but
Anyway, I want to, and then I want to go into the next. So the next track, Requiem, which is featuring Solstice, SV, Cuzzo Black. So I kind of approach this song two ways, and I want to know if I'm right in any of them. So at first I heard the song as these MCs doing like a great job spitting verses from the point of view of a drug, and kind of like explaining to the listener like what happens when, you know, you take a drug going into your veins and stuff like that, and then causing addiction, right? But then I listened to it again, and I was like, wait, or maybe it's MCs just kind of boasting how good they are, and they're telling the listener, I'm so good, I'm like a drug, and I have this addictive quality, and once you hear me spit a verse, you're just going to want to keep listening to me. Which theory is correct, or are any of the theories correct?
Well, I hope people wanted to keep listening, but the second theory never crossed my mind. The first theory is correct, and it means you were really listening. I think a lot of people missed it because in the reviews when the song came out, like, no one really mentioned it. I think this has never been done before. Like, each of us basically... you know, as you said, speak from the perspective of the drug, not the drug user or the environment around it or the people affected by it, but as the drug. And then the hook is a lot of fun and completely sarcastic again, because I wanted to make this not a preachy album, not a purely educational album, but a fun, entertaining album too. That's what music's about. So, you know, I think that. DJ Booth said it was like, you know, for your next frat party, if you want, you know, your keg party like anthem with like a dark black blade or something like that, then this is the perfect song.
Nice.
Because you could get people jumping up and dancing to this, not even realizing what they're hearing.
Right, definitely, yeah.
So it seems you can pay me in hopes and dreams. Now go and drop them in like a Coke machine.
I'm your frat party, blowing up your nose, my son. And your Ed Hardy, pour it, tilt, get drunk. Let's get it started, light it, smoke it dumb. I'm the requiem, shoot it up your vein, get numb. I'm your frat party, blowing up your nose, my son. And your Ed Hardy, pour it, tilt, get drunk. Let's get it started, light it, smoke it dumb. I'm the requiem, shoot it up your vein, get numb.
Look, just call me a pill. I dissolve in your system, right? I'm keeping it real. You need me, I'm your rhythm, like a needle in a vein. Owned by a fiend, he feels the pain, whether I'm going in or going out. You need me to stay sane. Look, I'm your dealer's dream, but your neighbor's nightmare. I can make you lean while you're standing right there. Now could you just imagine that I could change your face up like you running for a pageant? Don't try to understand it, it's self-inflicted damage. You mad cause you can't bend it, you can't shake me like a habit. See, I'm whiter than a rabbit, I'm greener than your local park. Now roll me up, pass me around, make sure you light a spark. You go from light to dark, they say the freaks come out at night. You need me just to start and now to take it down, right? I got your back, see I told you not to frown. I'm here to lift you up, I can also take you down.
I'm your frat party, blowing up your nose, my son. And your Ed Hardy, pour it, tilt, get
The song Melting Pot, Made in America, featuring Sean Don. There was kind of two, I guess, lyrics. I mean, the two words, I guess, really spoke out to me. Was that was you letting us know that you were white, and then Sean Don letting us know that he was black. And I was wondering, well, one, was this purposeful, and were you guys really kind of, was this like a, commentary on, the whole, race versus class? Like, what is it? Like, what is, what's getting, what's getting more, what more oppressed? Is it, is it race now? Is it class? So I was wondering if you could talk about that song. Was that purposeful, what you guys were doing?
Yeah. We certainly did it in collaboration in the truest form. We, though not physically together, did have this concept, and it was certainly intentional for us to speak as our respective selves, and I think, Shandon did a great job of, building off of what I started, and, I wanted to be completely honest, about where I was coming from, and, in terms of the hook, for example, in the name of the song, Melting Pot, only in America, it's again sarcastic. It's funny that, we call ourselves a melting pot, but it's totally not, and race to me is the most significant issue today still. That's a personal theory, and opinion, based on, human experience, but also a degree in sociology and all of that. However, when we study sociology and we really think about our world, we see the intersection of race and class. There are simple things like in the justice system, for example, where it doesn't matter who you are. If you don't have the money, you're screwed. But at the same time, it's like, Obama talking about women's rights, I think without ever mentioning race, that was, not the full story, because women do make 77 cents on the dollar that men make, but black women have it even harder. So I talk about what it's like to be me, and then Shandon's like, well, this country never wanted me in the first place.
I know too many things, they scare a lot of people. Plus with this white skin, I almost look see-through. My teachers in high school used to say I was evil, while all the younger students treated me like a beetle. But I didn't ask for this. Of you, Dad, life sucks. Just to make you mad. The movement's got legs now, Static play my tracks, and pass saying everything, look what Jay-Z's at. If you didn't like me then, get the wavy pass, and take a seat of Menifin when you catch the whiplash. Hate be the new love, I see 'em little bastards, typing lies with 15 accounts and passwords. You got a lot of chutzpah, hiding behind slurs, locked down in the basement at mom's home in the burbs. You lavish with the luxury, ignore anguish and hurt. I chose to bleed for all, sometimes it feels like I'm cursed. The melting pot boils, only in America. The 1 versus 99, lock us up like predators. We didn't ask for this, but we did inherit her. You wonder why your flag burns. America, America, the melting pot boils, only in America. We don't pick up president, ask your state senator. He's still trying to come to terms with slavery, etc. You wonder why we so mad. America.
We discussed on a lot on rapstation.com and on the show And You Don't Stop with Chuck D that obviously commercial radio has done a poor job representing all kinds of rap. I mean, there's just absolutely zero diversity in rap anymore. It's played on the radio.
Yeah, clearly.
DJs, there was a time where DJs would actually, they would be proud of, breaking records without, worrying about what the industry is going to think about it. And you kind of, and I feel you do that, you do a great job.
They influence the industry.
Right, exactly.
Now it's backwards.
Yeah, now and then you do that a lot when and you talk about that on Radio 2.0 featuring KRS-One.
Yeah.
So I want to what is your solution for that? And or is it just forget about radio and just go with the internet, with whatever, go with Sirius and with satellite radio and stuff? Is it just forget about the radio and go to a different path, or do you still think there's hope to kind of break down commercial radio?
There's always hope, even if in my personal life I'm a pessimist. I refuse to be one politically and socially, or else I wouldn't personally feel the need to live. And the same goes for the hip-hop industry, which is total reflection of the larger society. I think there might be ways to do it, but before I even think of those, just to answer your question from the perspective of an individual artist, what I have done, I know what my appeal is. There's something about Macklemore that made him more appealing, and I just don't have that. And I'm not ashamed of that. I like the style that I have, and I wouldn't be comfortable doing the things that he does. And of course, there's no disrespect to him at all. I think it was very brave, even if, to make that gay rights song, even if he went out of his way to say he wasn't. It's still not what anyone else was doing.
Right.
So given what I think my place is, and I think should be almost, I'd love the wider exposure. As I said earlier, I want there to be greater exposure for this type of music. But in terms of I don't focus my efforts on trying to get my songs to the major radio. I spend my time making sure that Chuck D has it, making sure that Two Dope Boys has it, making sure that like my fan list has it, and like activist groups and these community groups and like Real Hip Hop Forever on Facebook with like 300,000 people. That's my focus. In terms of maybe there being a potential for change, it's a really hard thing because it is the way the whole society and economic system is going. There are fewer and fewer companies controlling more and more, and it's cyclical. So they produce crap, we eat it up, we create more crap, they play on that, and I think the change probably can't come just within the industry. There's got to be an actual cultural desire for change also that goes beyond the people who work for radio and the people who make rap music. That's my fear, but it's not impossible.
Really slay me though, like they really piss with prostitutes, really slay for dough. I'm serious, it's funny how they really chase them hoes. I rap about clear, it only spit when I feel it. So feel this, go to iTunes or steal it. Every 16 I write is real ish that I deal with. Never open up a can of worms unless I can seal it. While most rappers talk ish and hope to conceal it, I say what I mean and just hope that you hear it. Sincere is the type to get high off of life, while admittedly I'm often high when I write. I'm the 9 to 5 MC, never lie when I write, or rely on simple sights and cast shadows that typecast out like a volleyball on beaches with Tom Hanks. Radio DJs still keep awkward at arm's length.
On the radio, they play the same 5 songs on the all day and all night long. Radio. I'd rather listen to the satellite. Radio. On the DJs have no control, damn. Radio. They only play what's in the program. Radio. It ain't the same as it used to be. Radio. On the
For 100 years now, radio's been around. In these difficult days, man, it's steady losing ground. To iPods, internet, new ways to connect. Make me want to call up request lines, collect. Frequently I scan frequencies, the freedom of choice. Not directed by a program, I choose the voice. We got mass production, subliminal seduction, corporate corruption. Some rather hear nothing. My people say, Doug, and please say something. Then I talk back with percussion. Now the radio's effective if you use it properly. It might just infect us if you use it sloppily. I know this vicious cycle probably won't stop with me. And to think I thought these airwaves was free. Better stock up on CDs, LPs, and MP3s to hear your favorite MCs on the radio.
On the radio, they play the same 5 songs on the all day and all night long. I'd rather listen to the satellite. On the DJs have no control, damn. They only play what's in the program. It ain't the same as it used to be. On the
program director don't see me, something's up his rectum. There must be checks and cash from the big labels. Them I ain't hating them, I know you gotta make a living, but for the sake of our children, can't you rappers do something? Beyond material commercialism, I'm done with ism schism. Charts and rotations match each and every station. Whether rap, rock, hip hop, gospel, soul or blues, contemporary indie artists, we be singing the blues with no major financial backing. Airwave artistry is lacking, we stay power packed and punch through walls like Hawaiian. I'm dying inside cause the DJ decides it's not what the people want, it's what you wanna feed them. Deceive them, mistreat them, beat them down with your whack rhymes. Stolen jewels, no love and false crimes. Where'd the light go? I sure wanna know. I hope to find it once again on the record radio. On the radio, they play the same 5 songs on the all day and all night long. I'd rather listen to the satellite. On the